My name is Clifford Paul. I'm the Moose Management Coordinator at Unama'ki Institute of Natural Resources. What I do each day, well, I work from home, and I keep an eye on moose populations, and I keep an eye on ecosystems, and I also keep an eye on other things where I work, especially as they relate to natural resources in Cape Breton, or better known to us as Unama'ki.
Can you describe what it means by land-based learning and how do you apply it?
Well, we're a maritime people, and there's more to it than land. We are land and water. And for us, we have to demonstrate by example. So when we take the kids on the land, take them to the places where land and water meet, we have to show them that this is the realm of our ancestors, and that our ancestors have allowed us to be able to do these things. The land-based teachings, water-based teachings, spiritual teachings, all those things allow you to learn using patterns. The sights, the sounds, the smells. You're using all your senses to take in that knowledge. Whereas traditionally in the contemporary world, we try to study and memorize what's in a book, and we write a test about it.
What does it mean to have a two-eyed seeing approach to things like moose management and guiding?
My traditional knowledge with modern Western scientific knowledge, that's called two-eyed seeing, Edwap the Moog.
Okay.
And if you look at me, I learned it. I was able to use my traditional knowledge, embrace it, and wrap it around what science has to offer, and come up with some pretty good ideas and solutions and a way of looking at things. And you look at me now, 19 years working, I'm a practitioner of the two-eyed seeing. So the world heard what two-eyed seeing is all about. Now the world is hungry for me and my colleagues who are practitioners of the two-eyed seeing to bring the strengths and tenets of modern Western science and combine that with the strengths and tenets of my traditional knowledge, in this case around moose and moose management. I'm able to take those and weave the fabric into two-eyed seeing and develop what a management plan should look like, what education should look like, what the narrative should look like. So I always have this story on two-eyed seeing. And it's a science story, but it's also a Mi'kmaq legend. And it tells the same story through those different lenses. So I'll start with the legend. So a long, long time ago, our ancestors were struggling to survive in a very harsh climate and environment. It was the time of the Ice Age, the end of the Ice Age. And it was a time where our ancestors were having difficulty gathering food because the climate was changing and the animals were very hungry. And when we went out to get food, we became food to the short-faced bear, the dire wolf, the saber-toothed cat. We had the megafauna. We had a giant beaver. Even the squirrel was big and fierce. And our ancestors were adapting to this change, this great change to the environment and the changing of the animals. So they prayed to the Creator. Our ancestors prayed to the Creator. They asked for help. And the Creator sent Glooskap to help the Mi'kmaq, to help our people. And Glooskap so loved the Ilnu, the humans of the land, that Glooskap endeavored to find a solution. Glooskap is not the Creator, but Glooskap is our legendary hero who works on behalf of the Creator. So Glooskap says, I'll change the animals. So Glooskap took the short-faced bear. He lovingly petted it and stroked it till it became the modern bear of today. Done so with the dire wolf, the saber-toothed cat, the giant beaver, the squirrel, and Glooskap gave instructions to the animals to serve the humans and not to cause fear. And we were able to survive. If you look at that legend, it is the story of evolution told in a very colorful, traditional way. And it's told by a voice more ancient than mine, in a learning environment, in a camp, probably at a water source. You got the sights, the sounds, the smell of nature. You got the waves coming in. You have the night sky. You have the animals. You have the medicines, the fire, all that stimulating your senses. So all your senses are impacted in the learning. And that's how the legend is passed on. That's the way of telling the story and passing it on. So, as a traditional person, and I can tell that story, in a two-eyed seeing concept, my traditional eye is wide open. And as a traditional person, I can travel the world and tell that story from that one lens, that one perspective, because I am that. But like I said, growing up, I was taught to dance in two worlds. I'm a practitioner of the two-eyed seeing. I owe it to my audience, I owe it to you, to tell the story from a scientific perspective as well. This eye. So, in Debert, Nova Scotia, they found in a hearth a tool. It was a scraper for hides. And it was something our ancestors had left behind, because if you look at Debert, that was a bottleneck for the migration pattern of the ancient caribou. Remember I said our ancestors matched their migration patterns to the birds, the mammals, and the fish. So they would intercept this migration and they would harvest. So a stone hide scraper was found, and the scientists, the archaeologists, and the Mi'kmaq leadership said, this is very old. How long has it been sitting here? So the radiocarbon dated the materials where it was found, and found out that that was sitting there for 10,600 radiocarbon years. Convert that to calendar years, that's 11 to 14,000 calendar years. So that tool takes us to a time where my ancestors, the Ilnu, the humans of the land, who happen to speak Mi'kmaq, my language, Micmac, or Mi'kmaq, that they were eyewitnesses to the extinction of the megafauna. They were eyewitnesses to the extinction of the megafauna. That implement gives my ancestors a fingerprint to a time where we witnessed that. The legend also, through the stories, gives my ancestors, the Ilnu, the Mi'kmaq, the humans of the land, a fingerprint to a time where we were eyewitnesses to the extinction of the megafauna. So my science story, and as a person who learned science, I can travel the world and tell that story from that one eye and get away with it because I am that. But because I'm a practitioner of the two-eyed seeing, I have a traditional story, the changing of the animals from Glooskap, which gave my ancestors a legend from a time where we seen the extinction of the megafauna. I have a traditional story, and science backs it up. You know, the radiocarbon dating of the materials, where this stone hide scraper was found, takes me back to that time. I have a legend that's backed by science. That's powerful, man. I can tell that story. Hey, science backs up my story. You know, that's powerful. But I also have a science story. The radiocarbon dating of the materials, where a stone hide scraper was found, takes me back 10,600 radiocarbon years. Translates that converts to 11 to 14,000 calendar years. My ancestors are eyewitnesses to the extinction of the megafauna. I have a science story that's backed by a Mi'kmaq legend, the changing of the animals. And in the two-eyed seeing concept, both stories have equal strength and both stories have equal merit. The science story is no stronger than my legend, and my legend is no stronger than science. And today, science is starting to catch up on our stories and legends and our knowledges, but also our knowledges and stories and legends are catching up to science. Ego igande ha ego gwandu dana he